that the plaintiffs, Alvin Jackson, Emmanuel Jean, Joseph, and Xavier Ville, and 5 other black male passengers were ejected from American Flight 832 from Phoenix to JFK in New York City on the 5th of January 2024 without any valid reason based solely on their race, according to the complainant. Now, an American Airlines representative approached each of the men before takeoff. The complaint said, ordering them off the plane, the passengers complied. Now, once they reached the jet bridge, they saw that several other black men were also being removed from the plane. In fact, it appeared to plaintiffs that the American had ordered all of the black male passengers on Flight 832 off the plane. The complaint reads, American representatives told the men a complaint about body odor had prompted their removal, according to the suit. None of the plaintiffs were told that they personally had body odor. And in fact, none of the plaintiffs had offensive body odor, it says. This happened earlier this year, and I've been following it. Whenever I get to see posts about it, I remember when this broke out. A lot of people say, "Oh, they're going to sue American Airlines. Oh, they're going to sue. Oh, they're going to sue. They're going to sue. They're going to sue. They must sue." It doesn't make sense. There were videos. Some of them, I think 3 of them, made videos right after they were asked to leave the planes because of body odor. They smell. Let's say they smell. Now, ideally, this type of issues, when they arise, should meet with the most stringent of measures and investigations, right? Now, following up, what I just read for you was from CNN. Now, on the BBC, it goes with this headline, and this was in June of this year. Several American Airlines employees have been put on leave for their involvement in an incident in which black passengers were removed from a flight after a complaint about body odor. Now, 3 passengers filed a suit against the carrier in May alleging racial discrimination in the 5th January incident. Now, in the notes to employees, CEO Robert Eason said that the incident was unacceptable and that the company fell short of its commitment to customers. Yet another racial profiling, discrimination type case. Those of you who have traveled to the West, to the USC board, whether to the West Coast, you probably have had experience. Probably know someone who's had experience, and those of you who are in the UK, who are in the EU, may have had experiences with discrimination, racism, that's what I could call it. But I have a question this morning. You see, it is very possible that I could have a very offensive body odor. Very, very possible. And the comfort of the other passengers is at risk. It is very possible that I may be asked to leave, maybe because I'm rowdy or uncouth. I remember there was a video of a lady, I think she was in Saudi Arabia, who was arrested for disorderly conduct. And people say, yes, you are in a foreign country. You are not on home soil. You don't act a fool. So she was arrested, shouting all over the place. Come on, please go and sit down somewhere. You don't make noise in this country. So there are rules and regulations. There are things that ought to be. Now, when there is when there is some form of misdemeanor, right? You do something wrong. You should, as it were, pay crime. But here is the difficult thing when racism is in the mix. You see, can you distinguish, ladies and gentlemen, between racism and bad behavior? You see, I have friends in the US in particular who say a lot of these cases of racism is blown out of proportion. that sometimes some black people, because I'm not too comfortable any longer with the African and American nomenclature. A lot of black people, would be in a bad mood, have a tantrum, and then when punishment is being met out, they very quickly shout, "Oh, racial profiling. It's because I'm black. That's why they treat me like this. There's no justice. No, the racism. It's my skin color, right? You don't like black men. You don't like black men." Meanwhile, you were acting like an idiot. Not just any idiot, a supersized idiot. Now, not all about, if there's anything I know personally, I detest anything supremacist, right? So whether it's white supremacy, black supremacy, it's all for me, it's all abuse of one sort or the other. But let's be very honest, one to another, particularly, and this conversation for those of you who have traveled abroad, but if we narrow it back home, very often on social media these days, something happens and then you find some people from the West, hey, it's tribalism. If he was an Igbo man now, they would have done this. They would have done this. Now, is this person, but did you ask what the person did? What the person did, was it right or wrong? Shouldn't the person receive just measure for what he or she did? It's not like that. If not like that, you see now. If it was an Indian man now, this would have happened. If it was from my Asian, it would have happened like this. If the person from Enugu now, they would have been doing him anyhow. They would do him anyhow. Was he a thief? Yes. Did he steal somebody's money? Was he involved in advance fee fraud, aka 419, aka Yahoo? Yes. So once again, can you separate racism, tribalism from bad behavior?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeriainfo FM. Nigeriainfo, let's talk.
Stimulating and insightful conversations. Hello, Port Harcourt. 92.3 Nigeriainfo. Let's talk.
017-923-0002, 017-923-0007. WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. At Nigeriainfo, PH at Nigeriainfo. PH, all right, is where you'll find us on Facebook and on X. Where you find us on Facebook and on X. Miriam is not quicker. Miriam, good morning to you.
Thank you. Femi, good morning. Jude, good morning.
Good morning.
I recently watched a video where a blind guy was really in the U.S. was really behaving so naughty to the police officers, and he did something and they were chasing him. It was a black community. And he ran into the community and he was just swabbing the police vehicle, and the black guys were telling him, and they were just telling him, and before the police van, they missed him, the white guys, they missed him, and he just ran into his clique and into the community, and they just covered him. Look, Jude, difference between just racism and bad behavior. Just let's be true to ourselves. Racism still exists in the U.S. Trust me, Jude, it is still better in the U.S. than in any other part in the world, white world, in the Arab world. It's even worse there. But the U.S. is even fair. They are even better about. Trust me, our black brothers, our black guys, I will call them our brothers, even if they are black Americans. They are really, some of them are really, really behaving so badly. A police officer approached you, each of you begin to there's a way they talk, they're smart, you begin to make so much noise about it, they will arrest you, they will not feel intimidated by this your word of racism and that. It exists, I know. Even the core Native Americans, trust me, they can't even wash it out of their skin, this racism. They still see black in there. But our guys, trust me, the black American guys, majority of them are really, really, really behaving so naughty, honestly.
They are badly behaved.
And you think because of racism, they should be intimidated by that and they should not arrest you. It will not happen. You will go in for it.
Okay. Eric is in Port Harcourt. Eric, good morning to you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, let me look at it two ways. Assuming without considering, in that flight is a white guy that had bad odor. Most times they eat garlic and ginger and onions, and sometimes you see these things smelling in their own body. And they were my number. Would they have also cancelled the flight or asked the white guy to go out for only the white to stay there?
Good question.
There would have been better ways to handle such situations.
Good question.
Depending on urgency or whatever. Assuming somebody who has bad odor, was going on an emergency something, and you say because of bad odor issue would have, get out of the flight and all that. Yeah, we are not trying to condone bad things, especially when it is not clearly defined by the law. But again, we should be able to be tolerant one to another, and tagging it black or white does not really go well with me. Even here where we are, there are times you are properly dressed, you want to go to work, you are wearing white, and you see one mechanic guy with his dirty apron, and would want to just rush in and maybe send you. You will be careful, but you can't ask him to go now. You say, please, so be careful, so you don't send me. That kind of a thing. There will always be ways to handle things without attaching color or race or whatever to it.
Exactly.
But then, I don't know, that's a civilized country. What happened to air freshener because in the flight, you should have certain things that neutralizes odors or whatever. So that it will not be on account of odor. You want to have somebody who has paid for himself and luggage and other things to light a flight or something. And you can also cause embarrassment and
they were embarrassed, obviously. Obviously, they were embarrassed and inconvenienced. But once again, let me ask you directly, Eric, can you separate from any form of prejudice, whether it's racism, tribalism, from bad behavior? If you see something happen, can you say, this is a blessing and tribalism, or can you say it's actually bad behavior? Can you? Do you know how to?
It's difficult to really differentiate, but the law can always take care of certain things without necessarily bringing in tribe, race, or whatever. But they will say this is the law. Everybody must comply, no matter how highly or lowly placed, whether you're color or you're white or red or whatever. So if these things are clearly defined, stated, and everybody understands it, or some majority of persons understand it, we will not be having some of these issues.
Okay, Eric.
Thank you. That's my contribution.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much, Eric. Eric in Port Harcourt. Some interesting messages have popped up on WhatsApp. As always, we'll take a breather. We have headline news coming up shortly, and then we'll continue our conversation. We're talking about racism versus bad behavior. Can you honestly differentiate between a racial profiling and then when something or an occurrence is based off of bad behavior? Can you? Hello, Port Harcourt returns. Going straight to messages this morning before we get to the headline news. At Nigeriainfo PH. At Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. At Nigeriainfo PH. WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416. 0809-030-6416. All right. Now, let me start here. Read this message. This is WhatsApp. It says, my brother, racism is just a mindset thing. If you behave badly in the society you find yourself, I think you should bear the consequences. Victor from Arabia. You should bear the consequences. If you do rubbish, if you act badly, they should punish you. All right, now, good morning. See, one of the biggest problems a lot of Africans have who haven't left the shores is knowing that their own prejudice comes back against them in the public when you are in the West. If you are a black man and you loiter or you litter, any little thing you do is exacerbated just because you are black. So you could do the wrong thing, no doubt, you could badly behave, but the punishment and the problem in which it is addressed is usually swifter than if he was a white person. Unfortunately, we are living in that world where people are judged based on their color. Okay. So you could be badly behaved, yes. There is meant to be punishment, yes. But because you are black, it's worse. It's quicker. It seems as though justice is prompt in your case. Now, interestingly, I've read and I think I've seen a few documentaries. When people are talking about cultural differences and race differences in America, one of those documentaries highlighted that 911 calls, right, in some parts of the country were promptly responded to. So I think maybe the average time would probably be like maybe 5-6 minutes for the police or the ambulance emergency services to get to where you were in some areas, while in some areas it can go as much as an hour before any help comes. You've made the call. So yes, don't be deceived by when you watch those movies. Oh, call 911, and we'll be there in 3 minutes, and hey, they just appear there. No, it doesn't happen. In lower income communities, which is where you usually find some of the black communities and some of the other minorities, the police, the emergency services don't tend to respond as quickly as they would in higher income areas. So, would you say, oh, that's racism? Or that is a shortage of manpower? Aha, maybe. Headline news.
Headline news. Nigeriainfo on
92.3.
Headline news.
Headline news, 92.3, Nigeriainfo. Rivers CSO demands level playing field for all political parties in October 5th LG election. Residents of Ahoda West community set agenda for incoming council chairman. Police yet to speak after discovery of body of security guard inside diesel tank in Obiakpo community. CEO of Dangote Group calls for complete removal of fuel subsidies in Nigeria. In business, Senate, House of Reps to jointly investigate alleged economic sabotage in petroleum sector. In entertainment, singer Rema dismisses claims that he worships the devil. In sports, Aliko Dangote expresses regret for not buying English Premier League club Arsenal. And on the foreign scene, court in the U.S. sentences Colorado supermaker gunman to life in prison. Details in the 12 noon bulletin. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp message to 0808-721-7215. 0808-721-7215. My name is Jude Omamegbe. Thank you for listening and good morning.
Are you up to date with ideas for sustainable development?
92.3 Nigeriainfo serves you opportunities
to ask great questions,
Contribute solutions.
and transform society for the better.
I'm listening. Are you?
We connect you to the world. We connect you to the vicinity. We are Nigeriainfo.
Listen to me, I said this is a real situation and the government has to do something about it. What are you trying to insinuate? All these people looting Nigeria's money? You think?
This is Nigeriainfo, in the heart of Nigeria. 92.3. We are Nigeriainfo.
Now, in the past few months, in fact, since the results of the presidential election was announced last year to date, on social media, there have been so many tribalistic tirades and diatribe that you often wonder if these people who often engage in these comments have any sense between their ears. No, I'm not trying to be funny or not am I being sarcastic. It's a very genuine question. Now, the tribal sentiments reach very high levels just before the elections and after the elections. Now, one would have expected that afterwards, normalcy would, resume as people just, get down from the fever of election and electioneering and all the other politicking and politricking that goes on. But no, it hasn't abated till today. In fact, personally, I have blocked several accounts that I used to follow in the past, particularly on X, right? That's former Twitter. I've blocked several accounts I used to follow because of their tone and the rhetorics that they seem to be promoting. Anybody can be bad. Jude can be bad. Anybody can be good. Jude can be good. It has no bearing, really, bearing on where I hail from or what I eat. Although what I eat could actually affect my, how long I live, quality of my lifestyle, which is why I always promote and encourage people to have plantain and fish as often as they can. Financially speaking, it's expensive these days, but you can do no wrong. You don't even need to put salt inside your plantain. Just boil it, it will be sweet. Fry it, roast it, steam it, pound it. You are good to go. You see, healthy living. Now, for whatever reason, some of these individuals tend to push their views into realms that are button pushers. And I mean extreme button pushers. Somebody trips and falls. It's because it's from Esako. They are always falling like that. Oh, somebody stole Pekere. Nah, Ijo boy. Check that boy. Nah, Jude, the Intifam. Ijo boys, they can like to thief plantain things. I am badly behaved. But am I badly behaved because of my race? Or am I badly behaved because, wait for it, I am badly behaved? So once again, ladies and gentlemen, as we go back to the phone lines, do you think you can identify any form of prejudice, whether it's racism, tribalism, nepotism, and bad behavior? Can you tell the difference? Is it possible for you to be able to assess and then determine that this is the proper thing to do or not to do?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeriainfo FM. Nigeriainfo, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeriainfo.
At Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. At Nigeriainfo PH. At Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. And to call in, let's have a conversation with you. 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0007. 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0007. All right. Don't forget, turn down the volume of your radio set when you call us. Refrain from making derogatory or defamatory comments. Didn't see or hear, please would encourage you not to make mention of it. And very importantly, keep your conversations civil. Now, Goodness says, Jude, good morning, please. Since this body odor seems to be coming up by airlines, to mitigate this confusion, racism or bad behavior, the airlines should include in their packs deodorants for passengers to use before boarding. But wait, as funny as that sounds, well, thank you very much, Good. As funny as that sounds, the issue isn't the body odor. The issue is how it was handled. Today, or well, on the 5th of January this year, it was body odor. Maybe next time it could be the way your hair looks. Oh, my children are afraid of people who have black, long hair, braided hair, or what we call dreads. Aha. So what if that was to happen? Would that be a case of, oh, this person is behaving badly, or whatever actions occurred because of racial prejudice? I think that's the real issue. The real issue is not if they were smelling or not. It's a possibility that they were. A very strong possibility, but all the black men, 5 of them, all of them. Once again, let me read that report. Let me get to CNN and then I get back to the BBC page, all right, and share this story with you. Now, further down, it says the plaintiffs, that's the black men, did not know each other before the flight, and this is the really interesting thing. They were not seated together. They were not seated, so it's not like this one sat down next to this person and then the smell jumped to that guy and then jumped to the... No, they were not. They were not. It goes on to read that the men were eventually allowed back on after about an hour after the airline determined that there were no available flights that evening. Plaintiffs then had to reboard the plane and endure the stares of the largely white passengers who viewed them as the cause of the substantial delay. They suffered during the entire flight home, and the entire incident was traumatic, upsetting, scary, humiliating, and degrading, the complaint reads. So you see, after kicking them off the plane, no other flights, you have to save money because these people have paid their tickets. You now bring them back on the plane, where the people who said, oh, they were smelling, look at them, blaming them from the smell. So basically, that airline or the attendants that day were badly behaved. But what was the reason for their bad behavior? Was it just, ignorance, or was it racism? That's the issue. Well, Jude, I think anybody who wants to see the truth can tell when somebody is badly behaved and when actions are based off of prejudice. Here in this country, we have a lot of tribalism and a lot of nepotism going around. Almost everywhere, you often hear indigenous, is our people, is our land. These are the very words that will generate those kind of sentiments. So when somebody does wrong, for example, because now our brother, they won't punish him. It's the same thing that happens in some parts of Port Harcourt. Jude, let your callers call and say if I'm lying. That there are some places where they intentionally tax people who are not from that area more than those who are from that area. Ask them, they will tell you. Kelvin is saying. Is this true? Is this true, guys? That in some areas, if you are not from that area, if you're not quote unquote the indigent, wait, well, before I even go far, I think I've seen that in some schools, right? When you want to pay school fees. Oh dear, we have opened a can of worms right now, haven't we? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So you have school fees for indigents and you have school fees for non-indigents, right? It's similar to school fees for international students. If you've ever traveled abroad for school, for example, right? You have fees. If you are an international student, maybe you'll be paying, I don't know, 8,000, 10,000 pounds. But the naturalized or the British, natural-born British student gets to pay 3,500 or even 3,000 pounds as tuition or whatever it is that the fees are at that point in time. So I don't know, would I call that racism? I don't think that's racism because, whether you're a black student but you have a British passport, that's the fee you pay. Whether you are Italian, as long as you're a foreigner, you get to pay the 10,000 pounds. I don't know. Anyway, once again, like I said, we've opened a can of worms that is different. But yeah, can you tell the difference between bad behavior and any form of racism? Any form of prejudice, whether it's racism, tribalism, or any of the isms that are bad? That's the question. 017-923-0002, 0817-923-0007. At Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X at Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH. All right, that's an interesting message here. All right, Charles Cottrell, lengthy, but I think I have time to take this. I will do just that. But Charles, give me a moment. Let's get to hear from Okonkwo, who's speaking to us from Rumuokuta. Okonkwo, good morning to you, please.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome, Mr. Okonkwo.
Yes. They also have that bad culture of racism within us in the country, Nigeria. In some businesses, even in River State, they will tell you that you are non-indigent. So the indigents are not to be treated the way the non-indigents should be treated. Two, at different universities in the country, the school fees of the indigents are different from the school fees of the non-indigents, which properly the school fees of the non-indigents are always higher. You talk of sanitation fees, also still in River State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The non-indigents, they pay higher than the indigents.
Really?
Yeah. Many other things.
So Kelvin was not...
So we didn't practice more than the Westerners.
But
because we practice our own with the great bitterness. Thank you.
Okonkwo, hello? Hello,
I can
sir.
hear you.
Okay, now, whilst there's truth in that, the question I want to ask you, can you tell if this action is done, or any action now is done because of bad behavior, or if it's prejudice, if it's racism or tribalism? If somebody says, Okonkwo,
no,
we caught this boy stealing. Hey, it's because he's from Igbo, that's what they're showing his face. Can you tell if it's just because of that, or if it's actually bad behavior?
Not to bad behavior, just like the instances I've given to you, sanitation fees, school fees, and their language, coastal language, you are a non-indigent. even in the pastoral level. Do you know that in River State we have people that we call the indigenous pastors? They have come to the point of discriminating also in the churches. It's a pity. Thank you.
Okay, more. Thank you very much. Still to answer the question. Once again, would you be able to determine, can you differentiate if an action is based off of a racial or a tribalistic bias, or this is actually done because this is bad behavior? They caught Jude throwing his plantain skin on the ground, and the punishment is he will have to sweep the street. But is it being done because I threw the plantain peel, or because I'm black? So if the law says, okay, he's meant to sweep the street, the policeman that catches him says, no, because he's an Ijaw boy, you know what? He will sweep the street for 3 weeks. They will not say, oh, it's because he's an Ijaw boy. But you'll be wondering, but the law says 1 week. And I say, no, you in particular, because of the way you were acting, that they will make it 3 weeks. Can you tell? In Nigeria, it is easy to tell and generalize some perceptions. Mother tongue can easily let you know that the guy or girl is from Akwa Ibom, Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, Bayelsa too. In River State, if you see a Calabari man, you can easily know his dress sense, courage, charisma, speech making exudes everything as an exposed man. You can also see that the Calabari man as a warrior who doesn't take disrespect and intimidation lightly. He will fight back. Around the world, Nigerians are now seen as people with anger issues. They react to everything to the extreme. So yes, if someone misbehaves and the person is asked where the person is from, you can easily generalize. Not everyone in Niger Delta is a pirate, a gunman, or a bunkerer. But if you mention Niger Delta, what comes to mind is that they are bunkerers, gunmen, pirates, and cultists. So we also have that internal racism, prejudice, right? What about the current Ban A, Ban E users of power? That's segregation. No one is more Nigerian than the other. But today, we have people who are more Nigerian than the others. Also, non-indigenous pay more school fees than indigenous. In my days in NYSC, I was asked to sleep in the gutter because I'm from Niger Delta. Charles Scott, really? You were asked to sleep in the gutter? Ha. Seriously. Jude, that's not true that in some areas in Port Harcourt, so people are giving more preference than others. That's not true. That person should take back his claim, should back his claim rather, or accusations with proof, not just calling or texting on radio media and making biased and unfounded claims. Jude, you too should endeavor to ask the person to tell you the particular place, not aiding to discredit other people. Whether a thing that happens here in Port Harcourt happens in other places too, even in your state. So don't settle it only on Port Harcourt or River State. Maxwell from Port Harcourt. Maxwell, I agree. I'm not centering on Port Harcourt alone. It's not. Once again, let's not steer the conversation far off from its point of origin and the point we're trying to hit. You just heard Maxwell. I don't know if you're paying attention to the last call. He said in Port Harcourt, what I read earlier on from Kelvin happens, and I'm very sure it happens in Benin. I'm very sure it happens in Lagos. After all, we've all heard of the Omoniles. And once again, remember I said when the political season was in its full flow, it stirred up a lot of tribal sentiments that I still maintain are ignorant. They are ignorant. I think they are the marks of a stupid person. An absolute stupid person. And what is even, like I said, I've blocked a lot of people. What is even more surprising is that some of the people who have these sentiments are people who are quote unquote educated. So if I commit a crime and I'm being punished, my punishment, should it be based off of the crime or based off of, hey, Isomesako, punish him more? That's the question. Can you separate racism or any form of prejudice from bad behavior? Hello, Jude. It's like this non-indigenous syndrome is enshrined even in the government circle. Right? No, we've talked about the school fees. I can understand the school fees. Like I said, even abroad, foreigners pay more because you're going to be using, as it were, theoretically, you're paying for more services. So you pay more. But that's not the issue. The issue is not about whether you are paying school fees or not. The issue here is if you commit a crime as a black man, as an Ijaw man, as an Igbo man, a Yoruba man, a Hausa man, is the punishment met because of your affiliations as a Christian, as a Muslim? Can you tell when it's bad behavior or when it is prejudice? William is in a chair. Williams, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Jude.
Good morning.
Please, this topic that you brought, I want to say something concerning this tribalism. In 2004, when I was living in Wiki Road, I was arrested in Wimpy. That time there was a market along the road there in Wimpy there. There was a mass arrest. We were about 30 something that arrested, took us to Kala police station around after 7 in the evening. So when the DPO came, and they asked, who are those people there? And they told them, one of the custody policemen told him that we are arrested in a mass arrest. The man asked, okay, he now left to the office. Between around 8:30, that was 2004, around 8:30, he came out again. He said, police, Hausa Yoruba this way. And when we divide them, he said the Hausa Yoruba should go.
Wow.
We that came from Nigeria, we were arrested and we were sitting and we killed ourselves. 2004.
Wow.
Let me remind you one thing. I've been to Aba. If you go to Aba Lucky Shop, all the shop in the Aba market, go to their shop there. You see strangers collecting shop there. You see there. You only see them do petty business along the road. So this tribalism is all over Nigeria. There's nowhere you will go that will not see 1 or 2 faults in any state. Go to any state, you will find those type of sentiments.
But that's the problem. See, those type of sentiments are localized. That sentiment that we based on was international. So, do you punish somebody because, like he said, Yoruba, Hausa, go here? That's obviously wrong. That's a prejudice against someone. That's wrong. Without the shadow of a doubt, it was wrong. Just the same way those men who were asked to get off the plane were unfairly dealt with.
The show continues.